Okay, so if you have a child, be mindful that some people don't view your child as you view your child, okay? If you're a good parent, there's some people who view children as less than, all right? Um, Karmics are having heavy addictions right now. I mean, heavy addictions. And some of their goals is to basically pass these addictions to the children, and they don't want others to know about it. They want to basically plant the seed of an addiction early in the child and subject the child to a lot of trauma so that the child will take on the addiction, okay? And so that the child can mask the addiction of the person who's not willing to get the proper help. Now, I've had this happen to me. You know, my mother wanted to hide the fact that she hadn't really been clean as long as she said she was, and you know, she projected onto me her worst fears so that the attention could be taken off of her erratic behavior, and she made it seem as if I was a problem child. And currently, what I've picked up is that my youngest daughter's father wants to subject her to a lot of emotional trauma so that she can get addicted to drugs like him. So I'm definitely going to follow up with ACS, you know. It's 3:15. I'm getting this information. Very interesting. um, there's a lot of parents out here who really don't care about their kids. And if their kids have a chance of stopping a generational curse that will get them left behind, they are going to do everything to stop it and try to make it seem as if they have nothing to do with it. So my youngest daughter is a Pisces with a Cancer moon, and her dad is a Cancer sun with a Pisces moon. So he understands how dark it can be. And I noticed that when I speak to my daughter, my youngest daughter, she's happiest when she speaks to me. And my youngest daughter's father is smoking crack. Yeah, they close the door and things like that, but they light incense to hide the scent of the crack. That felt good. So I'm definitely going to just follow up. You know what's interesting? I remember my youngest daughter's father was trying to cover up the reason he wasn't showing up to visits. And he was saying, let's go get tested for COVID. But he was very reluctant to actually follow up on it because he didn't want it to show up in his system of his drug use. So I guess I'm sharing this so you guys can know that if you grew up in a family that didn't know what love is, more than likely you were subjected to heinous things, and there's nothing wrong with you. you probably feel like there's pieces of you in some aspect that just isn't where isn't it's just you feel like pieces of you just been taken from you, and it's because the parents couldn't actually control you, so they did everything to trauma bond you so that they could have aspects of you that when it came time for you to look forward, you wouldn't be able to find it because they would consistently lie to you about it. So, lifetime after lifetime, you would come back with these same vindictive parents who fed off of your energy because they wanted to make you miserable. Like, I'm really starting to put it together. The seed of all this abuse that I've experienced goes to my mother figure. And you know what? I'm not even upset with her. In fact, what I learned from her is if you're that perseverant and trying to reconnect with me another lifetime, well, then I'm going to have to do what I have to do to not have to see her again anytime ever again. And everything that has come with knowing her, I'm going to tie up all these loose ends because I know my worth, and people who are full of conflict, no. Like, I'm really starting to get it. My mother's addiction was so bad that she helped me around so that she could feel grounded when the addiction would kick in. And it was easy for her to, be in the NA meetings and talk as if she was at peace and doing things like that. In fact, she became well known in the NA for her public speaking. But, I was always there with her. I say I'm an NA. I used to say I'm an NA baby. Um, But now I'm starting to put it together. She needed my energy there just so she could keep it together. And for her to keep it together, she had to beat her addiction tendencies into me. So I didn't take on the addiction, I just took on her trauma. Ended up attracting people just like her. Like realizing that she feels so she feels so chained to her addiction, and she doesn't want people to know about how much clean time she really has. And then, what's funny, y'all? 7 of spades popped out with supported by 6 of spades. It's just confirmed what I've been thinking, because I remember the first time I thought this to myself. I said, my mom has such and such clean time, but she won't acting like nobody who is clean because her level of irritability was so high. And one would say, well, it's just your mother, she wants to see you. But she would definitely cling onto me. And when my oldest sister and I were younger, for me to vie for her attention, she would pit us against each other. But then as we got older, she started to realize, shit, my addiction is getting worse. I need Spain around. So she would go above and beyond to emotionally guilt trip me and shame me to come around and help her be able to get through the addiction. So that explains why she's been pulling on my energy, because that addiction's eating her ass up. And she can't act like she got it together no more. In fact, what I'm putting together is she's starting to appear like she has psychosis. And this is what she definitely dumped into me. So it's like I'm starting to realize the main person that I've been, dodging, thinking it's everybody else, which came after her, to deal with when it came to the conflict. What, it's been my mother this whole time. Everything connected to her is chaos. It's like she got like a spirit of chaos that follows her, and she just tries to trap me every lifetime so that she don't have to shake that thing off herself, so she can just take on my stability and all will be well. But no, we're not doing that over here. So, as crazy as this story sounds, I want you guys to really take into account, if you've dealt with a lot of toxic family dynamics, but you have people who don't really want to talk about it and sweep it under the rug. Think about the person that you normally felt like you was deeply connected to, but you didn't really put much thought into it. But you always just felt like you naturally go to them. But you notice that you have more anxiety and your heart palpitations when you think of them. More than likely, 10 times out of 10, that person has already premeditated and calculated having you around long term. Even if you have a family of your own, if you haven't established boundaries with them, just know that when you establish boundaries with them, they're going to get more, you're going to really see who they are. A lot of us sometimes don't actually really know who our parents are, at a core level. That's why, a lot of people who have subjected a lot of us to abuse, even if we ever go to them and ask them, like, what happened in childhood, they won't tell you, because this gives you back pieces of yourself that they have been trying to hold on to. So you will notice that when you really go above and beyond to discover yourself, you will come up against a lot of spiritual warfare. And even though, of course, you won't be able to recognize, let's say like this relationship is a tree. There's the seed, the roots, the leaves, the branches. You may notice, the green leafy part of the tree, but you got to take note of the seed. So if this is a peaceful tree, then you want to understand why it's peaceful so you can maintain it. But if it's a conflict-filled tree, you want to really get to the root of it. And the root that I'm getting is that my mother has been stalking me lifetime after lifetime, so she doesn't have to heal her own addiction to oppressions of every kind that she normally self-medicates with heavy drugs.